Alright, good morning everyone. When I was editing the video, WeirdCo dropped this new card reveal for us, and it's not just a new card, but it's a new card type. We have programs, so now we have confirmed units, legends, gears, programs. Programs here definitely look like the spells of the game, and this confirms a few things. The bottom right number, as you can see, is no longer there. We can for sure say that is the strength of a unit, right? That their power that they deal or health and whatnot. And at the top left, we still have the number, so that is for sure the cost of the card. So we could at least confirm, those two things, even though there were educated guesses and it's yeah, no duh. But now this is really showing a confirmation. And this one says Floret, it's a plan and it's a merc. So we also have plan subtype now. And it says return a spent unit with cost 4 or less to its owner's hand, discard programs after they resolve. So what this tells us is that there's room for a counter spell, a counter program. Makes sense, why not? And then we also have plan. So this new subtype, I'm really curious what other cards fit under this subtype. I love planning setups in my decks. I am excited to see what other subtype that's a plan has it. Now go into the video with the big interview updates, and yeah, enjoy. Alright, hey yo, what's up Chooms? I'm back. We have a big update. There was an interview that Luohan Wei, co-founder of WeirdCo, did on a stream with Maxildan, I believe is how you pronounce the name. And we have KP here from the Discord who translated the questions and answers during the interview. Granted, this is a rough translation, so there may be some inaccuracies here. I'm only going to go over the parts that I circled or highlighted in some way. Pause anytime to read everything. The interviewer asked no virtual version because Luohan mentioned how their focus is physical and social aspect of TCG, and Luohan said he's not saying that. And already in the Discord, it's already been mentioned multiple times. They're not saying no to a digital version, but their primary focus right now and the future, for the foreseeable future, is physical. The final message about WeirdCo from Luohan was the principal is, so again, rough translation, but the principal objective is the social and how it is more important than making money. So the way I interpret this is they are primarily focusing on the social aspect of TCGs. Monetary value, making money, is second. I'm gonna say second because they gotta prioritize making money, right? Otherwise their whole company and business just goes down the drain. So it's definitely a priority, but it does look like they're trying to push the social and TCG, what makes TCGs great, to the forefront, to the #1 spot of the prioritizations. All right, so the next section here, talking about the lead designer, Richard. I'm not sure who last name or anything, but their lead designer worked on Duel Masters and worked for Bandai as a playtester. I wanted to highlight this because it further shows that there are very experienced people outside of just Luohan Wei behind this TCG. It's not complete newcomers. It's a lot of people involved have had experience developing and publishing TCGs. On the note of card quality, Luohan said that they're visiting a lot of small factories to try new things. For him, quality is really important. If you watch my other video, he's been around with Universus and everything. Card quality is very important, and again, with everybody being so involved with TCGs, both as players and developers, I'm optimistic in the fact that they really do care about the quality of the cards. And then he goes on to say that they've done some testing with Japanese and Chinese factories. And so when he says we will ask some persons to see what they prefer, again, rough translation, from what I make of it is they're going to print out, what this tells me is that they're going to print out a couple cards or some cards from each factory, and then they're going to say, all right, blind test, feel them out, see how they feel, how they look, tell us what you like. It's going to be just like a test group. All right, so here are the cards. As you see, there's only one clip, which is the Yorinobu there, but you can see how the foil reacts in the light. And right here, you see that texture? I love that. And then there's Saburo and Goro at the top. This really excites me to chase for the chase cards, to be able to find these. This, it's just the fact that they're textured and it looks so good. It looks like metal. We know it's not metal, but it damn near looks like it. You know what I mean? And this really excites me. I love the way that the foil and how this looks really nice. This looks really good. I can't wait to get my hands on them and actually feel them. All right, so the next point here, the main points I'm touching on, is this question where it's like, are you gonna be like for other actual TCG, or will it be more easy to gain all the cards? I believe the translation is more like, what's the scarcity gonna be like with this TCG? Is it gonna be, you know, hard to get a lot of the cards, or will it be easy to collect them all? And then Luohan said, good question. For us, we're gonna do the Kickstarter to give cards to everyone, and it will give us the data to know how many people are going to buy the game. But the value of the game will be things on the side. We are going to do special things that people will want to collect. My understanding of that with the rough translation is he's saying we're going to have chase cards. We're going to have things that you want to go after to try to collect. You have to hopefully get lucky. So they do want a majority of stuff to be collectible and easy for people to obtain. But also, you know, if everybody could just get everything, the joy of opening a pack, this is my thing now. The joy of opening a pack and then seeing, oh shit, I got the thing. Like, that's no longer really there. You know what I mean? And that's part of the fun. You open it and you're like, you're excited to see what you get. And when it hits something nice, it feels really good. So that's my understanding of that, is that there's going to be stuff that is, when he says on the side, I think what he means is they're not going to be game breaking things. Like Riftbound, for example, you have to try to hopefully get an Acathian Rain or a Time Warp, shit that is like core to a deck to make it work. I say to make it work, but it's not necessarily to make it work. Like, it's core, like you have to have it, but it is so much more efficient and powerful when you do have it. You know what I mean? So I think what he's saying is that these things on the side, they're gonna be strong, they're gonna be nice, they're gonna be great to chase after, but to make your deck really pop off, it's probably not gonna be to that like extent. That's my understanding. Again, rough translation and my interpretation. Next question, do you think about organized play? We already know in the Discord, it's been confirmed. Yes, they do it, all that. They're already thinking about it. When do you want to launch it? Organized play on the first public set. So as soon as they launch the set, OPL, boom, ready to go. The only other thing that I want to touch on is how Luohan says about the organized play that it would be really different and nothing like what's on the market right now. I'm excited to see what it's about. So we have here brief mention about constructed format. Is there going to be more formats than 1v1? Not going to say too much. Pass. I think it's safe to say that there's going to be more than 1v1 formats. Every TCG at this point has more than 1v1 formats because people love playing in groups. Are resources a part from the deck? So think like Riftbound, you have your main deck and then a rune deck for energy. And the question is asking, or is it going to be like Magic the Gathering where you have all your energy and resources in the same deck? For me, that's what that says. Luohan says, I would just answer is neither things from the deck or cards outside of the deck. Let's brainstorm here a little bit. Universes does not have resource. I'm not going to break down the mechanics, but this is how it goes. You go to play a card and then you flip a card from the top deck, and if the number that you need is matches or is higher than the one that you played, it plays. That's how universes work. This tells me is that if it's not necessarily a resource, and again, this is rough translation, so it could be one of two things. One, it's not a separate energy resource pool like Riftbound. It's not from the deck, so it's not something that's built in like Magic the Gathering. What it could be is that it's a resource that as you are playing the game, you build up. Now, the caveat to that is maybe that's what they mean, where it's not outside of the deck, where you're not building up the resources from an outside source. With the translation, it's really hard to really figure out exactly what he means. Localization was brought up. They are exploring different languages, and when it says market story, that to me just means, you know, getting some market tests, marketing research done, just to see where the interest is and where they can focus their localization from the language standpoint. And then this to me is very important, extremely important. How are you handling Reese? How much every year? Very important question, because I was playing Magic before. I had to give it up because they just released too much shit. That it's just way too much. His answer here, I'm not going to go through everything verbatim, but essentially it boils down to, we want sets to come out, have some breathing room to really, you know, come alive and be engaging, and then release something to bring something new. And the only other thing I'll mention is that he brings up, when you release a set and you're releasing too often, you don't have chance to see if there's actually a mistake that's been made in one way or the other. I also agree with that. My preferred way, like they have the set that comes out 300 plus cards, right? That's like your main expansion. Maybe the next one, 5 months down the line, 4 or 5 months down the line, boom, another big expansion, 300 plus, right? And then the next one, 4 or 5 months down the line, it's a smaller set. Think Universes, how they have their smaller expansions, and then they have a big ones. I think that smaller one is a great way to expand on the previous two, implementing some new stuff in there. It still allows the previous sets to breathe, to have that oxygen that he's talking about before introducing a whole like 300 other cards. That to me would be great. Three to 4 sets a year, maybe 2 of them being some big 300 plus ones, and then 2 of them being just mini ones of like, you know, like 100 cards or 150 cards. Just meaningful, focused, not completely meta defining, but they still introduce new stuff in while keeping the other sets relevant. For me, that is the way to go. First set, 2077. Very first question. What would the first set be based on? 2077. Cyberpunk 2077. Now this next portion here is, I feel, is important to discuss. They have confirmed that they have the rights to like the anime comics and stuff like that, but not the TTRPG. So if you're hoping for some characters or callbacks to the TTRPG like in a very direct manner, that's not going to happen. At least not right now. Do you have the possibility with contract for any more products? For now, we're just doing the TCG. Dex box sleeves, Kickstarter, everything's going to be there. Do I need to kill my opponent, win point, or anything like that? It will be unique. I want complexity in the game. Obviously, I don't want it to be convoluted. How many types of gears, cards? Is there a huge amount? Legends, gear, units, and maybe more. We do know that gigs are a thing. They can be stolen. Outside of that, we don't know. So he's basically just confirming what they've shown. What's the game time going to be like? And best of 1 or 3? We have a fast-paced games. Games will take around 15 minutes. So this to me tells me will more than likely minimum be best of 3s, and tournaments, like an actual tournament, will be best of 5s. Because if you think about the timing, Riftbound games and like Universes, a full match of a best of 3 is about an hour long. If a singular round takes 15 minutes and it's a best of 3, that's 15, 45 minutes. Another round will put that at an hour, and another round will put that at an hour 15. I definitely think the minimum is a best of 3. I do not think that there's going to be a best of 1 if the rounds are that fast. So it's definitely going to be at least best of 3s. Best of 5s is for sure pushing it, but you know, maybe there's other stipulations, like maybe it's best of 4 with a combination of who hit these win conditions the most and which win conditions weigh heavier, which then ties into the previous statement being made of how the organized play is very unique. With everything I'm saying right now is very unique compared to any other that I've seen anyway. Luohan has a question to the journalist about a Pokemon tournament going on. Fan is in China with a different organization, and it's not Swiss style, it's Elo score. I'm just gonna say, you know, he's not confirming whether or not it works for the Cyberpunk TCG. However, what this is telling me is that it might be Elo mixed with Swiss style. Obviously, I don't know how that shit's gonna work, but it could be something like that. And I think the emphasis here that Luohan is bringing up is how you could just play games rapidly over and over and over again, because of the fact that the game, Cyberpunk TCG, is very fast-paced. That does slightly worry me in the sense of it being very, very, very simple, which can be a good thing depending on how it's implemented, but I don't want it to be overly simple. So that's what that's telling me. It might be more Elo based, maybe a mixture of the two. Again, this is a rough translation, but what it comes down to is that yes, you will have you can build themed decks, but maybe not to the extent that you want. To me, this is telling me that there's going to be restrictions like in Riftbound or Universes, where you have colors or symbols where you can, everything in your deck has to comprise of those colors, symbols. Whereas in Magic the Gathering, you can mix and match all the colors. It's like there's no restriction there, but it looks like there's gonna be restrictions here. Who decides what goes on, what effects goes on which cards? They've already explained this in the IGN interview a while ago. WeirdCo comes up with an effect. CDPR says these characters, it makes sense. These characters, it does not. So they want to make sure that the abilities, again, it's been mentioned, that the abilities fit and are true to the characters that they are put upon. And then as far as bridges between the game To me, this is more of a lore question. Luohan says that they can't reveal anything, but I really do hope that there's lore built into the TCG revolving the Cyberpunk universe. I would love to see little nuggets of like new information pop up, or like a storyline that sort of evolves that's like canon. You know, that'd be pretty dope. The Delamain cab, is it vanilla or is the effect hidden? And Luohan says they can't answer. And if you don't know what it is, I'll show it right now. All right, so here's the Delamain cab. So this is their latest card reveal. Looks very vanilla. Yeah, so that's why the question is the effect hidden or not? Luohan says that they can't answer that. I mean, considering it has the ×3 at the top right, I am under the assumption that after him stating that, the effect is probably hidden. Yeah, the effect is probably hidden. All right, and the last couple things I wanted to bring up is the confirmation that we will have cards before 2027, meaning this year they'll release. And then the other one is Donnie saying, oh, you know, sort of teasing like, oh, maybe I'm going to CDPR, you know, I have to check my itinerary to visit their offices. Someone new in the Discord was asking a question about it, and I said, oh yeah, WeirdCo is partnered with CDPR, and CDPR has a solid hand in development. But yeah, and then Donnie's like, oh yeah, I might be going over there. The other message is that he says that there's very big news dropping this week, which everybody's saying, okay, at the very least the Kickstarter announcement is happening. So all this tied together, I'm thinking he's going to the CDPR offices. They're probably going to record a video, put it out there. Hey, here's the Kickstarter. And then here's the launch date. Be ready for it. And with that said, I think it's either going to be this Friday or next Friday where the Kickstarter actually open the floodgates, pledge your money. Anyways, so yeah, so just be on the lookout this week. There's going to be some news dropping. Thanks for sticking by. I'll catch you on the next one, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.